Hey everybody, welcome back to our series on the works and words of Jesus. Here we're looking at another miracle where Jesus exerts his authority over Gentiles. And we've been seeing Jesus exert his authority over all kinds of things. But here in this miracle, we see that Jesus doesn't just have authority in the realm of the Jews, but Jesus has authority over all people. And so this miracle that Luke gives us reveals this truth about Jesus' power and his authority. We're going to be reading from Luke chapter 7. Let's go ahead and read this text together. Luke chapter 7, starting in verse 1. After he had finished all his sayings in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. Now, a centurion had a servant who was sick and at the point of death, who was highly valued by him. When the centurion heard about Jesus, he sent to him elders of the Jews, asking him to come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they pleaded with him earnestly, saying, "He is worthy to have you do this for him, for he loves our nation, and he is the one who built us our synagogue." And Jesus went with them. When he was not far from the house, the centurion sent friends, saying to him, "Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. Therefore I did not presume to come to you, but say the word, and let my servant be healed. For I too am a man set under authority, with soldiers under me, and I say to one, 'Go,' and he goes, and to another, 'Come,' and he comes, and to my servant, 'Do this,' and he does it." When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him. And turning to the crowd that followed him, he said, "I tell you, not even in Israel have I found such faith." And when those who had been sent returned to the house, they found the servant well. Jesus has such an amazing way about him, and this miracle reveals something important about Jesus. It reveals his authority over even the Gentiles. Let's start by noticing our setting and our characters. First, the setting. Jesus, after he finishes speaking, comes to Capernaum. Now, Capernaum is an important city in Jesus' life. It's very small. It's a fishing village. It's right on the shore of the Sea of Galilee. And a lot of things happen here. Earlier, we learned about the miracle of the four men lowering their friend to Jesus, and Jesus heals that man. And this is where Jesus was staying. Jesus would speak in the synagogue in Capernaum. Jairus was a synagogue official. His daughter died, and Jesus brought the daughter back to life. And then there was a woman in the street that Jesus heals from her flow of blood. So just all kinds of things are happening in Capernaum. And it's a very important place. It's important to see that that's the setting. Jesus had come to live here. He settled in Capernaum. And that's where these events take place. Now let's notice the characters. First, most importantly, there's Jesus. That's the he. Then there's the centurion. More on him in just a moment. Another character, there's the servant. And then there's the elders of the Jews. And then last set of characters here are the friends. The centurion has friends that he sends. So those are our characters. Jesus, the servant, the elders, the friends, and most importantly, the centurion. There's a lot that we learn about the centurion in this account. First of all, let's talk about centurions. These are obviously important guys in charge of 100 soldiers, Roman soldiers. But I just want you to think about this. These Roman soldiers are not in Rome. They're in foreign territory that they are occupying. So think about this. This is Roman-occupied Galilee, and this is, in a sense, an enemy. He's a centurion from a foreign military that's ruling over the people of Galilee, the people of Capernaum. He's an important man. He's a Roman man, a powerful man. Perhaps in this little fishing village of Capernaum, speculation here, but perhaps he's the highest ranking Roman around. But he's a very interesting man. He is a caring man. So he's got the servant who was highly valued by him. Servants weren't usually highly valued people, but this centurion, important guy, cares deeply about this servant. Someone under my care is sick, and so I need to take care of him. So he's a caring individual. Also, he has influential friends, the elders of the Jews. And these are the people that the Romans are ruling over, and yet, surprisingly, he has these influential friends. What else do we learn about the centurion? Well, we learn that he's very generous. The elders of the Jews say he's the one who built us our synagogue. That's significant. Apparently, he had funded for this synagogue to be built. Also, he loves the Jews. He loves our nation. That's not coming from his own mouth. That's coming from the mouth of the Jews. Think about that. A foreign military official ruling over the Jews, and yet the Jews' opinion of him is, boy, he loves our nation. What an astounding thing to say. He's also very humble. When he says to Jesus, he says through the messengers, I am not worthy. I'm not worthy for you to come to my house. And notice, by the way, how these words, I am not worthy, that's his opinion of himself. But what's the opinion of the Jews? He is worthy. So do you see how that contrasts? He is worthy, but his own opinion of himself, I'm not worthy. Also, two more things to notice about this character. He has faith. Jesus says, I tell you, not even in Israel have I found such faith. So Jesus is amazed at the faith of this man. And last, it's this. He's not a Jew, because Jesus says, not even in Israel. And so the centurion is not Jewish. He's a foreigner. So we learn a lot about the characters here, especially the centurion. And this miracle shows Jesus' authority over foreigners, over Gentiles. So that's the setting, that's the character. Let's kind of work our way through. So Jesus, in verse 1, he enters into Capernaum. And the problem, the basic problem here is that the servant is sick. How sick is he? What is he sick with? Well, we don't know what the sickness is. We just know how bad it is. He's at the point of death. That's an emotional roller coaster when there's someone that you care about and they're about to die. That's the scenario that the centurion is in. Someone that is working for him, he wants this guy to get better. And so the servant is about to die. So what does he do? The centurion hears about Jesus. Jesus has a reputation. He's healing people. He's teaching. Even in Capernaum, he has a reputation. And so he sends elders of the Jews. What does that mean? Well, it can mean one of two things. One, it could mean that these are synagogue leaders, that these are kind of like they have this official role in the synagogue. They do mention the synagogue that he builds. That's possible. Or it could just mean that these are influential people from Capernaum, that these are elders in the sense of civil elders. Either way, these are important guys. And they come and they go to bat for this centurion. That's kind of amazing. He sends the elders and they come. And they don't come grudgingly. Notice in verse 4, when they come to Jesus, are they just going through the hoops here? No, they're pleading with Jesus and they're pleading earnestly. So I think that shows something, that these elders of the Jews, they want this to happen. They want this deed done for the centurion and for the servant. And so here's their comment to Jesus. Here in verse 4 and 5, they're saying, their opinion is he's worthy. In other words, Jesus, this is something you should be doing. And they give two reasons. Number one, he loves our nation. Number two, he built the synagogue. And they're trying to convince Jesus. They're trying to convince Jesus, this is the thing you ought to do, which shows you something, interestingly, about the elders of the Jews. They actually think Jesus can do this. They actually think Jesus can heal the guy, and I think that's amazing. They believe Jesus can heal him, and they're trying to convince Jesus this is a worthy person. So Jesus goes with them. Jesus goes with them. And he's getting close. He's not far from the house. And the centurion sends another round of friends. This is the friends here that are sent. And he gives them a message. And essentially what's surprising is that he sends the friends to stop Jesus from coming. To stop Jesus from coming all the way. Now, the rest here in the second part of verse 6, all the way down through verse 8, this is the message that those friends give. Now, an interesting thing we need to talk about here. Who is speaking these words from 6b all the way down through verse 8? Who is speaking? Is it the servants, is it the friends who are speaking, or is it the centurion who's speaking? Well, you could kind of say it either way, right? So, on one hand, Luke tells us that the friends are saying, so the words are actually coming out of the friend's mouth, so you could say it that way, the friends are the ones speaking. Or you could also say it's the centurion who's speaking, right? Because this is all quoting the centurion, and he's using personal pronouns like I and my and I and so on. So who's speaking? Is it the friends or the centurions? Well, in a sense, it's both. You could say it either way. And the reason I say that is this. Matthew's account summarizes. Matthew doesn't mention the friends. He just says the centurion said. Now, some people look at that and say, well, there's a contradiction. It's the friends speaking. It's not the centurion speaking. So these are saying different things. No, it's not. It's a legitimate way of summarizing the account. And all that to say, it's important if you read Matthew's account, that might be confusing to you. Okay, so what's the message? What are they saying on behalf of the centurion? What is the centurion's message? He's saying, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy for you to come. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm not even worthy for you to come under my roof. I'm not even worthy for you to come into my house. What an amazing thing to say. You don't see a lot of people coming to Jesus with this amount of humility and this amount of faith. And yet this man, this really important centurion, does. So we see his incredible humility. He says, the reason I sent my friends to come to you is that I didn't presume to come to you because I'm not worthy. And we find in verse 8 a key word. It's the word authority. For I too am a man set under authority with soldiers under me. And so he's saying, I get the authority thing. When someone's in authority, the people underneath have to obey. And he gives these examples. I've got to obey my authority, my soldiers have to obey my authority, and my servant has to obey my authority. Why is he saying that? He's saying that for this reason. He recognizes that Jesus has complete authority over the sickness of his servant. That's what's so amazing. He's recognizing, Jesus, I recognize that you have authority to just speak the word. And that's what is going to happen here. He's saying, you just speak the word and he'll be healed. So, as we look at these miracles, what we're looking for often is the faith and then the response. Well, here we get the response first. And the response actually comes from Jesus. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled. He marveled. Now, there's only two places in the New Testament where it says that Jesus marveled. One is in his own hometown of Nazareth, where he goes, and in Mark 6, it says he marveled because they didn't have, because of their lack of faith. In his hometown, he's marveling because people don't have faith. Here he's marveling, he's amazed, he's stunned almost, because he's seeing faith. And the thing that makes it so amazing is that this faith is coming from a Gentile. It's coming from someone who's not in Israel. And then finally, the account ends here with the miracle. Simply, those who had been sent returned to the house. They found the servant well. Okay, a couple of important things here. Number one, this shows us that Jesus didn't just come to help Jews. Jesus came first to the Jews, but also to the Greeks, also to the Gentiles. Jesus' offer of salvation and help isn't just offered to the Jews, it's offered to anyone who comes to faith in Christ, anyone who believes him. But second, we see this important thing, that Jesus has authority over every single human. Not just the Jews, but also the Gentiles. And so we start to see this pattern emerging as we read through the miracles. We've seen so far that Jesus has power over wine. He has power over sickness. He has power over hunger. He has power over nature. He has power over the demons. And now he has power over all peoples. Next time, the last miracle we're going to look at, we're going to see that Jesus has the power over death itself. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.